Hard hat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to puff him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
Damn it, Amit.
He's doing a lot tonight. He's doing a lot.
He's always doing. He's always
At
doing
the game.
a lot.
He's producing the show. He's running around.
Making limit squares.
He's running around. First comment of the night.
He's always like,
we're going with this one.
doing too much.
Oh, wow.
Ah, jeez, John.
Shots fired.
Come
Right off
on,
the bat.
guys.
Right off
Damn.
the jump?
Damn.
It's
Here
the
we
one
go.
that just
All right,
crossed
Zach.
my. Everything was Pritchard and White until
What, did you
that.
have it pinned?
Celtics
I'm
had
gonna
one
pin
of
that
the
one.
greatest games in franchise history, and we're gonna go there right off the bat.
You know what's crazy to me?
Celtics
I
made
know,
history
I know,
tonight.
I know.
We need
People
to
want
go
the
there, but
hard
no,
hat.
stop.
Guys, the hard hat's not coming out tonight.
No Tatum. Jaylen gonna cook? Nope. Yeah, not a Luke game. We know what a game it is. We're only gonna say two names tonight.
It was the
We
pee
know-
party, man.
It's a Boston
the
Tea Party.
Party.
And then Derrick White just
Featuring Derrick White.
sneaking up, not messing around. Like, yeah, I'm here too. So I will say outright that, how many times you hear like weird stats, like, oh, the first time to do this. And they're also stupid. Like none of them are ever first duo to finish with 28, 6, and 4. I'm like, whatever. Like they're just so random. The Celtics in their history, with all of the great players they've had, have never had two players score 40 points in a game together until tonight.
How
and
is
those
that
two
possible?
players were Derrick White and Payton Pritchard.
It will be the trivia question. No one will get right.
How is that a real stat?
The most ridiculously mind-blowing, shocking statistic I can remember in a long time.
Totally.
I would have never guessed that in a million years. I'm wondering if it's wrong, and like Dick Lipe's going to come in and be like, "No, guys,
It happened 17 other times.
NBC, yeah, 17 other times. Most recently, 5 games ago.
Yeah.
When Tatum and Brown did it.
Right.
I keep waiting for that. Legitimately,
It's
we'll be like,
crazy,
"Oh yeah. We watched that game. We talked about it."
Right.
I'm shocked.
I am too. And the thing about it, they made it look so easy. This was a real easy 40 piece for each of them.
Well, when the threes are falling like that, damn.
Yeah. And because this is a question that when you think about it, you're thinking, okay, Bird and McHale probably did it at some point. Okay, maybe Russell and Sam Jones did it, but
Maybe like Antoine and Pierce, like
Derrick
early
White?
on.
I'll be back.
It's
this
crazy.
will be the trivia question related to the Celtics that 99.9% of the people 10 years from now will get wrong.
100%.
They'll totally get it wrong.
100% on the 99.9%. Yeah, no,
I think Tatum and Brown did it.
Well, that's the thing is like if you told me the two players in the Celtics were going to do it, again, 99.9% would have said Tatum and Brown, right?
I would not have guessed this combination.
No,
Not even
but
close.
but when you think about, I would not have guessed it, Sherrod. But when you think about, okay, well, they were missing 3 starters, so obviously there's going to be a much bigger role for these guys, more minutes to go around. And who's shooting better than these two guys on this Celtics team? Really, when you think about it, I mean, I know Derrick White had his little rut, but once the joy returned, the shots started falling again. And Payton Pritchard, we know. The rest of the NBA might not know, but we know that when he gets hot, there's not really anybody who can score faster in bunches than Pritchard. And they were given, Scal said it on the broadcast at the end. He actually believes he's better than Steph Curry. And that's what allows him to go out there and play the way he does. That's what's allowed him to make it this far in life and in the NBA, because the odds are probably stacked against him, right? Growing up, never being the tallest guy on the team and whatnot. I'm not saying he wasn't. Obviously, he was a very talented NBA and basketball player to go to play at Oregon and everything like that. But late first round pick, nobody, Sherrod, thought that when the Celtics drafted him, I'm going to say nobody, but there's going to be like one guy who's been like, I knew it, I said it, blah, blah, blah. But pretty much nobody thought that Payton Pritchard was going to have this much success, I think, in the NBA. I don't think anyone thought that he was going to be a 40-point, scorer in a game.
No,
hand up, I didn't. I thought that he might be a good, he might bounce around on a few teams, be a serviceable backup guard in the NBA, and call it a day.
Okay.
Zannis plan has returned.
I was trying to stave it off, and she's like, I want to be on TV. We're like, all right.
We
One
you got it.
making
one quick appearance.
Talking.
The thing about Payton Pritchard, though, he has what we like to call irrational confidence.
Yes.
He has belief in himself that makes sense to pretty much no one but Payton Pritchard. I mean, think about it. This is a guy who said, trade me or play me more. And the guys that were playing ahead of him were Sixth Man of the Year, Michael Brogdon, and Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart. And his mindset was, I can do more than they can. You just got to play me, and I'll make it happen. That confidence makes him a major player for the Celtics. And Joe's ready to talk. Good.
Let's hear from Joe. Nope.
Let's say about Payton and Derrick performance tonight.
Yeah, they were tremendous. I mean, I think with guys out and playing against a really good Portland team, we knew we were going to need to have guys step up. And the way those two play just shows a lot about who they are. They do a lot of the dirty stuff when we're fully healthy. They do a lot of the things,
That's jealous.
To have a night like
that's the other twin.
Show what they're capable of was big for us. So, we're lucky to have them, and it was a lot of fun to watch them do that.
And you started Payton in the second half instead of Luke. Was there just something from that first half that made you obviously work? What made you go that route?
It was just another way to space Klingon. So Klingon had to go to one of our shooters or stay on now, and one of the adjustments that they've made in their defense is having Klingon in the paint, and that's why they've been really good. And we were able to just kind of space them a little bit. So it was just a tactical thing that we needed to. We found at the end of the first half, we needed to go back to it.
Late in the second quarter, you changed the defensive coverage. What triggered that change? And it worked pretty well, so you stick to that in the second half. So, but what triggers it?
Yeah, we just changed it because we changed the lineup, and so I think we changed the lineup, and obviously with Clinging out there in the middle at the end of the first half, you have to be creative on how you try to keep them off the glass. So I thought that small lineup with Al at the 5 gave us some good stuff at the end of the quarter. We were able to keep that up and give us some good advantages.
Joe, obviously, you mentioned Payton and Derrick's ability to sort of morph to the situation. They're usually off the ball a little bit more. What does it say about their versatility shooting that they're able to, go from playing mostly off the ball most nights to coming off screens and stuff like that to get to the same looks?
Yeah, I mean, even tonight it was dribble drive as well. We were able to space them and kind of use their pressure against them. And, two guys they're really good at creating space. They're really good at catch and shoot shots. Off the dribble threes, but they can also create, off the dribble. So we were able to kind of spread them a little bit and get into the paint when we needed to, and both those guys were able to do that as well.
And then some of the screening there with Al and Luke in particular, how much do you guys stress like the angle of the screen based on which player has the ball and the shot they want to get?
Yeah, I mean, just screen reads are important regardless of who we're playing against. Have to know what the coverage is, who's there, and those guys are very diligent. The player development staff does a great job teaching that, and the guys are diligent and have an understanding of what type of screen is needed. And usually, when you see a good possession, the right screen is set, and when you see a bad one, we usually don't set the right one.
On top of the points, 10 rebounds for Payton, 4 offensive. Just how have you seen him grow and progress in that area of his game? Yeah,
just again, those are the type of plays that really impact winning. The offensive rebound, to see close the game out with a couple there at the end. But I think just impacting the game in different ways. I mean, tonight it was his scoring ability, and he has the ability to just take it to another level when he wants to. But it could also be different. It could be his defense. It could be his rebounding. So just really takes pride in his competitive nature and becoming a well-rounded player.
Joe, obviously from a basketball standpoint, that was a pretty remarkable performance. But for you, as the game's unfolding, like two guys you're close with, and they've sacrificed a lot. Like, are you thinking like, wow, this is so amazing for them? They're having this moment that their new career highs are on the jumbotron. Like, do you have those thoughts? Or are you just kind of so locked in the game that you're only afterwards, I guess, does it hit?
I mean, the thoughts I have, we're lucky to have them. I have that, and I mean, it's great, a gift as a coach to know when you have guys out, you still feel like the expectation is to win because of the type of people that you have. And when you call it, you call a timeout, you need to get a basket. You can go to a bunch of guys, and so it's more just a gratitude of that we have them, and it's a luxury, and the way they compete every night.
Joe, you went to Jordan tonight. I think it was season high 20 minutes for him. What led to you going with him, and what did you see from him out there too?
Just for guys out, opportunity, his ability to defend in individual defense. These guys do a great job of breaking guys down, and he's really gotten better at that. And we needed some of his offensive rebounds. I think he got 2 big ones in the first half. I think he ended up with one more there. So just continuing to get better is an opportunity, to get him out there and make sure he continues to grow defensively and rebounding.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
There it is, Joe Mazzulla wrapping up the podium press conference here. So many people creeping into our shot. Have some respect for the guys working down there,
Respect the
guys.
biz.
My goodness gracious.
Respect Amit.
The guy standing behind the camera at the press conference is shooting something. Okay? There it is.
Amit. They don't respect Amit. We need to, you know what? I'm gonna have to go down there this week, John. I'm gonna have to show up to a game this week.
We'll think about it, Jimmy.
And,
You have a game in mind, Jimmy, by chance?
I have a game in mind. Yeah. It's a toss up, but I'm leaning towards one or the other.
We'll think about it.
Phil would be a good game.
Yeah.
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 That's so I mean, again, I can't oh yeah, Luke wants a blame pie on this win. I'll give you this. You know who almost got a heaping helping of blame pie tonight?
Oh,
Joe. For leaving White and Pritchard in there. I think he was, God bless it, right? I think he was giving them that nod to history. Maybe he wanted the double tens. Maybe he wanted to give each of them a chance to break the Marcus Smart's record of 11. And it wasn't happening. And all of a sudden the game got close. And I think Joe's like, oh, geez, I haven't taken these guys out in a
And then he had to keep him in.
And he had to keep him in because the game was out of hand. The game got close again. And so it's all fine and good the way it went down, but you played Pritchard off the bench 43 minutes tonight.
You played
back with another game tomorrow.
Like 43 straight minutes. Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, with the game tomorrow too, like Sherrod
White
said.
plays 39, they got a game tomorrow. So they got a little cute and that was that. All good. So we're amending we're going to put another poll in the chat. Who's the second most important player? Pritchard.
Pritchard's in there now.
Yeah.
40 piece.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
It's getting
Thank you,
too.
X3.
I know. I love you, honey. They're getting a little bit of fame has gotten to their heads.
They're getting
right?
comfortable. See, they're getting too comfortable now. Yeah.
Yeah. They're getting cocky. Right. They're like, I want to be on TV. I'm like, it's not TV.
This is where dad goes every night. It's bedtime. Wait a second.
Guys, this is
bedtime over there, John. What the hell's going on?
This is a troll, and we're just messing around. With that. He doesn't mean nobody means JB is 5. I mean, only I mean it. The other people are just messing around here. It's only something when I say it.
Dude. People want the hard hat tonight. Guys, it was a good win. Don't get me wrong. It's not a hard hat game. If you wear them for all of them, then they don't mean anything.
The value.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. All the credit in the world for PP and D White stepping up and doing exactly what they need to do with 3 starters out. They were the hard hats. They can, if they have a hard hat in their locker, they deserve to put that on. But as far as this being a hard hat game against a team like Portland, even though Portland's got a little bit of life recently, it's not a hard hat game. It's good that some guys stepped up like they did against Denver. Similar. Denver's a much better opponent. Like what I saw, obviously. I still hoping that some other guys would step up. You're getting extended minutes from Walsh. Still didn't really see much there. Torrey Craig didn't even see the court tonight. So I guess
I forgot about him.
Tells you all you need to know.
So did Joe.
What's that? Yeah, exactly. So did Joe. Kada, not a whole lot. And Hauser's not shooting. I don't. Every time Hauser has a game like this, I just assume that he's hurt. So I don't really know what to expect with him on a night in, night out basis, but 1 of 8 tonight from 3. So again, credit to the 2 guys that really brought it tonight, but after those 2, kind of slim pickings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it feels, once the game is finally over that they may not have won this game if they didn't have a historical shot making night from those
literally historical.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy that you need to have a great game of that magnitude to beat Portland. They're playing better, but they're still not a very good team.
Yeah, I mean, they've been playing really well. They're also hurt. They have been playing well in since the calendar flipped to 2025, and they are without Ayton, they're without Jeremy Grant, without Rob. I can't believe we're doing a Portland game, and I didn't even think to mention Rob, and I don't even know that it matters, to these guys that he's out because they've been winning without him. But poor guy.
Noah did ask Chauncey Billups about Rob and his effect on the team, and Billups did have
they
some
were
really
down
nice
some
things to
players.
say.
Yeah, they were down players,
That
but the
makes you
Celtics
feel
are
better.
down players. So, I mean, you're down 3 starters here. It's a good win. I mean, sure, you got it this way. But, this was one of those games where if they'd lost it, you'd be like, we understand why they lost. So the fact that they won, I think, is a positive here.
Yep.
And it's not a lot, but you got contributions. You got Jordan Walsh, reasonable contributions there. Like, I mean, look, he's not.
It is what it is.
Take what you can get.
You'll take
It
what
is
you
what
can
it
get.
is.
Professional minutes, and he didn't kill you when he was out there. He's playing decent defense,
-1.
grabbing some boards. He made the 1 3 he took. He still looks like the game's moving, way too fast for him, on the offensive side to be able to figure out what he's going to do there. I don't know that that's going to change, but again, there's other examples in history of Celtics, or just throughout where guys look a little bit overwhelmed or afraid or tentative. I think Avery Bradley's a good comp and is like, no, I'm not saying Jordan Walsh is that type of player, but in his early stages, Bradley was tentative, didn't like to, he'd dribble across half court and get rid of it and then go hide in the corner, but all of a sudden he was knocking down but he could play defense, knocking down those threes with a little bit of regularity. And then he starts working the baseline on backdoor cuts and getting easy buckets. And all of a sudden he's a totally serviceable / good contributing player for you. If Walsh is going to get somewhere, it's going to be like that. It starts with the D, moves towards knocking down those threes when the opportunity comes up with, presents itself, and then just being able to score the bunnies, the layups, the easy ones off of cuts and this and that. Is he ever going to go out there and create his own offense in the NBA? No, he's not. It's not going to happen. But is there a role for him? I'm not going to say 0.0% chance. I'm not bullish on it. But again, these are serviceable minutes when you're down 3 starters from this type of player, and you'll take it. And, Joe's looking at his bench and he's looking at Walsh and he's looking at Craig and he's like, Walsh. So I don't know what that says about what he thinks of Craig's effort in minutes so far. It's been unspectacular. We didn't expect spectacular, but if you're not able to clear Jordan Walsh in the 3 and D role coming off the bench, as a wing
without a 3,
as a wing player,
it's not even a 3, it's just a D.
As a wing player, when you're down 3 starters, that's not great. So
not what you want.
Yeah,
I wonder if the fact that this is the front end of a back-to-back played a role. Like for example, if Jordan Walsh doesn't play tomorrow, and let's say Craig does, then it will kind of make sense
just to give them each extended minutes, I guess, in a game.
Yeah. But but you're right though. I mean, Craig, I'll be very candid. I expected more from him. I expected more from him when he got a chance to play because he's the guy that's been in this league for a minute. It's not like this is a guy that is still trying to, figure out how to play. He's been an NBA player. He's played on really good teams before. And so I fully expected him to be more impactful. And it's still early, and I get that. But at some point, you're hoping that he shows a little bit more separation from the rest of the guys in the Stay Ready crew.
I think the extended minutes that I saw from Craig, he looked a little slow, and then he missed like a few of his threes, and it's like, well, that's not going to help you stay on the. Neither of those things are going to help you stay on the court. So I think maybe Joe's just kind of trying a few different things. And I mean, listen, we'll see Craig out there again at some point, but I think we might not see him in I thought that maybe he was going to leapfrog all the Stay Ready guys and just keep it that way.
Right.
But apparently that's not the case here. And I'm not saying that he can't leap over them again at some point, but right now it's pretty obvious that he's just one of the crew members.
Yeah.
And on any given night, he's going to stay ready. But when they put him in there, he hasn't really been ready.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
He is not. So, it's, we're already in the Torrey Craig didn't play portion of the show, which is crazy. We're 19 minutes in, but we are going to jump into the prize picks portion of the show because we do want to tell you, the guy I've been riding all year long, as I said here in Prize Picks, when you're picking more or less, it's just been more, and it's been Pritchard. And goodness gracious, this is something that
This is an easy one.
You cashed in easy on Pritchard here. And you know how this works right now. You download the app, Daily Fantasy Sports here, pick more or less on 2 or more players, win up to 1,000 times your cash. It is really easy to use. The app is gorgeous, intuitive, extremely easy to navigate, and friendly. So definitely check it out if this is your thing. You download the app, code CLNS. You see it on the screen. Play 5, get 50 instantly. You don't have to win. It's just there, 50, bang into your account, just like that. Once you play 5, again, Prize Picks, run your game all season long with Prize Picks. Get in on that NBA action. It is heating up right now, but again, you can cross sports. You can do NBA and NHL or whatever it is. Like we said, you just pick more or less, and that's all you have to do. There's also great deals and promos frequently on the site. Taco Tuesday. What do we got? Freaky Friday? I always forget. Is it Fun Friday?
I think it's Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday.
Nailed it.
Again, fun promos that you can do. So make sure you check it out here for us on the Garden Report. And again, make sure you use that code CLNS so they know we sent you. Again, really remarkable stuff from this game. And what was the game where the Celtics had the 3-point record in the bag and couldn't hit one, like missed like their last 15 threes? That's what this felt like a little. Not
that
really.
Was the banner raising game.
Yeah. What's his name? Pritchard only had 1 3-point attempt. He didn't fall. He didn't go for it. White jacked up 7 threes in that fourth quarter.
White had a half court 3 that he hit.
He did, and they both did. They both had logo threes. But if you didn't get the 11, the 10 and 10 would have been pretty cool. But what's funny, again, I thought for sure that was the record they were chasing, the 10 and 10, until they threw this thing up on the screen with the double 40-point games, and it really is remarkable. I can you think of anything else where 2 players of this caliber would hold a record like this anywhere else? And again, White is a starter, but like your 3rd or 4th offensive option, and the other guy's a bench guy. It's such a mind-blowing number,
especially for a franchise like this one.
Like the Celtics, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be one thing if we're talking about a record like this with the Sacramento Kings or with the Brooklyn Nets or with one of these, if we're being honest, second-tier NBA franchises. But this is the freaking Boston Celtics. They got
Pelicans.
18 banners. And you're telling me this is the first time in franchise history that 2 guys, put together 40 pieces in the same game? And these 2 particular guys, I mean, you're talking about guys who were literally near the end of the first round when they came into the league, who are doing things that no one in franchise history has ever done before. That it's mind-blowing. When you really start to think about Payton Pritchard and Derrick White are the only players to ever play for Boston to hit you with a 40 piece in the same night.
It speaks to the talent on this team too, Sherrod, because you talk about ranking the most important players or ranking the best players. I know John would have Derrick White number 1 maybe, but in terms of raw talent, I think most people would have Tatum Brown. And there's going to be people who think you've got Porzingis, you've got Holiday, you've got White, you've got Pritchard, you've got Horford, you've got Hauser. Like the talent on this team, and that's why people still believe that they are the best team in this league, despite the record or despite the slumps that they go in or the boredom that you might see out there. When you do see what they're capable of and what certain players are capable of when they, get the opportunities or the extra minutes like Pritchard tonight, or when the roles change a little bit and when they're tasked to do more and they're able to, you just see how difficult it is for another team to come in to Boston or to, go into a playoff series and beat them 4 times. Because on any given night, one of these guys can just go off for 40 on you. Or tonight, 2 can go off for 40 on you. Right. Jaylen Brown was out there on the court tonight, and you forgot he was even on the team. We're talking about a guy that some people think is a top 15 player in the NBA. He was a passenger. He wasn't even a passenger. He was in the 3rd row of the caravan, Sherrod. So, I mean, that's the type of talent the Celtics team can roll with on any given night. And, the Blazers obviously learned that tonight, but got to give, White, it's not that crazy to think about White doing it because of what we've seen over the last couple of years. But Pritchard, I think more and more people want to see. Listen, Pritchard's probably your 6th man of the year. I think that's not a hot take, but I think more and more people want to see this guy playing more minutes, doing more, starting, because when he does,
but Jimmy, it is remarkable. Neither one had ever scored 40 in a game, ever. Right. Throw that wrinkle into the stat. 2 guys became the first duo in the history of the most illustrious franchise in the sport to score with the most Hall of Famers and these names in the rafters to score 40 in a game, and neither one had ever scored 40 singularly. So it really is crazy.
But the shot, they had the opportunities. The shot, somebody needed to shoot tonight.
So again, this is not gonna be a Jaylen bashing segment. I'm not doing that. But I am going to talk about the White opportunity thing. It is interesting in terms of White sometimes being you always wonder the conversation, is Derrick White as good as he is or able to do what he's doing simply because of all the attention that has to be given to other people? You've got to mind Porzingis when he's out there, of course, because he's a mismatch nightmare. And then you've got Tatum and Brown creating so much gravity. Tatum's got 3 guys around him at all times. And does that open things up for a guy like White? Or if you were to remove players from this team and White was the clear 1A or number 2 option, is this a guy who scores 20, 23, 24 points a game as a secondary option on a good team? I actually don't know, what the answer is there, but you see it a night like this and you're like, yeah, because he can create his offense and he does it in such an intelligent way. He's aggressive, but not reckless. He can go to the basket despite not being the most athletic guy. He's always good at using his body. He's got that floater game and he's got that super quick release on the 3-pointer. Of course, someone's got to get him the ball in order to get a lot of those shots off. But it really is interesting to wonder, what would Derrick White be on a team with less talent? And would you see, obviously not 40 points a night, but something closer to, a guy who's consistently dropping 20, 23, 24, 25?
I think Derrick is a 20-point scorer with less talent. Yeah. Because think about it. He's giving you 16 with the talent that he's surrounded by now. So it's not a stretch for him to get a couple more buckets. The issue that I've had with Derrick White, and I think some of his teammates have mentioned this before, is he's not as consistently aggressive as he could be in terms of shooting the ball.
But I wonder why that is, because you have to take a back seat to Tatum and Brown when they got to trade off, and I got to get mine, you got to get yours. Because the last 3 seasons he's been a remarkably efficient offensive player in terms of his scoring, but he's not putting up 17, 18, 19 shots a game. It's career high 12 something this year, and it was 11 something last year. So it's just this is where it is, and I don't. It's not going to go past that. If he's putting up 16, 17. If there's 5 more shots there to be had, is it him not taking them or them just not really being an option to take? Because you got a lot of people that got to eat.
Yeah, and for me, his 40 piece tonight was a little bit more impressive than Payton Pritchard's because Payton has a scorer's mentality. He's looking to get buckets, and he's very good at it. So you figure if he has a night where he has it rolling, it's not a stretch to think he could drop 40. But Derrick, more games than not, he's looking to get others involved, or he's not being as overly aggressive as he could be. And that was not the case tonight. He came out looking to score. I think he had 24 in the first half, which, for Derrick White, there's a lot of nights where he doesn't get 24. And it's not because he's not making shots. It's because he doesn't take them. So his aggressiveness is really, I think, the key to unlock him to being a big-time scorer.
100%. He's the guy. He can be the guy.
He's the quiet killer. That's Derrick White, the quiet killer. He'll kill you, and you won't even hear it. You won't even hear it. But all of a sudden, you're dead. That's how I feel about Derrick White. Humble guy, very unassuming.
Dark.
Quick to past what's the word I'm trying to look for? Commend his teammates, basically. He's not going to be the guy who wants to take credit, but when he needs to, snap into action, all of a sudden, bang, 3 in your face. All of a sudden, just block the shit out of you. You didn't even see him coming. But Derrick White absolutely would be a 20-plus game scorer on a team, John. And not only that, it's the other stuff he does, the stuff he does on the defensive end, the decision making, the reliability, the clutch shooting down the stretch. I mean, he really does do it all. I mean, I was surprised. I was wrong. I was surprised. I thought that he wasn't gonna sign an extension in the offseason. Sure, I thought he was gonna wait it out and try to maximize his value and this and that. But the Celtics got it done with him, and whether or not he could have made money if he waited, it doesn't matter anymore. They got him to re-sign with them, and he's a guy that they have. I don't know what's going to happen with ownership and tax and all this stuff, but Derrick White seems like a guy that they're going to hold on to for dear life because he can help you win in so many ways.
Yeah, it makes sense because he's the guy that's shown the ability to blend in with your top tier players and not disrupt what they're doing. But on those nights where you need him to be that alpha, that guy to carry you, he has the ability to do that. Mm-hmm. And the thing about Derrick White that we never really talk enough about, he's a tough dude. I mean, he's like a legitimately tough dude. I mean, this guy's getting teeth knocked out in games and keeps on playing. You got other guys who they'll have a hangnail and they'll be out for 2 weeks. Derrick White is a different kind of dude, man. He's, and I think a lot of players have kind of alluded to this. He's like the perfect teammate. He's cool with your top tier players. He's cool with the guys at the end of the bench, and everyone in between loves him.
Yeah, they do. They do. So I'll tell you this.
Love,
Here's what I would have liked to see. And someone put it in the chat here that I'll put the comment up again. For all the JB bashing, even tonight, Portland's running 2-3 players at him. Understandable. It's the Tatum treatment.
Maybe they should have changed their way of defending.
But I would have liked. I'm sure a lot of people saw JT out and was thinking this is a Jaylen Brown 40-piece game. It makes sense, right? And you count me among them. I could have easily thought, okay, he's just gonna go, and he's just gonna do it. So hold on one second. Yep, I got a bail.
Okay. I don't know where. Let me say this about Jaylen Brown, Sherrod. He's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't, I think, sometimes with some people. Because we've also criticized Jaylen Brown for trying to take over games or trying to do too much or trying to get his, whether or not it's Tatum's out there or not. This would have been a perfect game for Jaylen Brown to make it about him and force more shots and put up, 30 shots and 10 3-pointers. And, maybe the Celtics do eke it out, but it's not pretty. But you look at the stat sheet, and I guess we should probably put the Jaylen Brown lower third up here. 7 of 23. It's not like he just sat around and watched, but only took 4 threes, didn't hit them. 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 3 turnovers, and a plus 15. So it wasn't the typical game you'd expect from Brown.
Fine game.
It was a fine game. But John, what I said was he's kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Because let's say he does, make it about himself and put up 30 shots, and maybe he hits a couple more and he gets to 30 points. Maybe he gets to the line or whatever. You're going to criticize him for that too.
No, I said,
because it's going to be Jaylen Brown making
it's
it
not
about
a
Jaylen Brown.
It is it's like a Tatum audition tonight. And we've seen Tatum have lines like this, the poor shooting, but he does a little bit of everything else, finishes plus 15. So it was kind of like Tatum didn't have a good game, but look at the rest of the impact. It was actually pretty good. And it was. I thought he played well defensively, and he got that assist total up to 8 there at the end. It was, kind of like one of those game when we apologize for Tatum type games. I would have loved to see him really just zipping the ball out of his hands early, when those doubles came and turn into that facilitator. Because he did say earlier in the year, I'm more of a facilitator now in my role. When all of those doubles started coming, I would have liked a little less dribble and mismatch and sort of stuff. And let's just play that role of playmaker more. He was still trying to get his. And again, that's fine because there are times he's out there. He's the only guy on that floor who could score the rock. It was a difficult assignment when you're missing all of these guys. He kind of got, the full Tatum treatment tonight without a wingman there to help him out through it. So it was just interesting to watch how he would handle the game.
I was going to say, is that like a preview of Jaylen as a number one on a whether it's this team or another team.
I mean,
somebody who's maybe not capable of.
I don't know. It was just an observation. I don't even have. It's not even a commentary. I was just curious how he was going to play it without that. Whether it was going to be Jaylen just going off and scoring a zillion points, or turning into like straight up facilitator and this and that. And it was, like I said, kind of just wanted to see how they would play it. 3-pointers still not falling for him. And yeah, he definitely tried to force the issue a little bit, with some of those tough shots. Those things fall though. It's, it's a classic Jaylen game. They don't, the line looks a little ugly like this with a 7 for 23 shooting night.
And I think sorry, Sherrod, you go.
No, I was just going to say the thing about Jaylen, he's shown this throughout the course of his career. He's pretty good at making bad shots. Shots that just don't fall under the guise of this is a shot that you should be taking. Jaylen doesn't. He's very good at making those bad shots. And I thought this was a game where it just didn't happen. His playmaking, I thought, was really good. Really good. But I want to hear from Payton.
Let's hear from
Payton. This is a Trailblazers defense that in the last
PPP
given up the fewest
Payton
threes
Pritchard
per game
podium
in the league.
game.
What allowed you to have a career night against a defense that prides itself on taking away the three?
Well, I mean, their big was in a drop some of the night, so it allowed us to get downhill and have those threes right off the screens. But I mean, we have a lot of good players that can like get into the paint and kick out, so helps us to space the floor and find your open shots.
Payton, was there a point tonight where you just kind of realized it was going to be like an explosive night? Was it the one in the corner over Scoot, or was it something else?
Not necessarily. I mean, really, I just like when I'm processing the game, it's just about taking the right shots, making the right reads. So I feel like if I do that, and obviously if you get enough attempts, it should be a good night regardless. I mean, obviously you're gonna have your down nights, but for the most part, just pride myself on making the right read every time.
Payton, when you're coming off of some of these screens, Al or Luke setting, like how much are you focusing on the angle of the screen? Like how much do they focus on that? Like how much of that small part of the game?
I mean, I just make sure that my guy runs into the screen. They're unbelievable screen setters. Like they get you wide open, but the job as a guard is just to set your guy up, run him into it, and then make the right read after that.
Did they not get you with the water? They posted the video of Derrick. Did they not get you in the locker room?
They got me on the court when I was doing the interview, so I already got a bunch of water thrown on me. It was cold, but we want to make sure we got D White too because he had a career night as well.
I'll just ask you that. What was it like? Sometimes you see one of these nights to kind of go through with him. You guys set a bunch of records, like most points by a duo, first time two guys.
Unbelievable. It was amazing to watch because some of the shots he was hitting were incredible too, and he wasn't hitting no rim, just straight water. So definitely fun to be out there with him and do it on a special night like this.
Payton, is any significance against a team that was kind of near your hometown?
I love Jeff.
It's always fun playing the Blazers. Grew up going to games, watching the Blazers, so it's special to play your hometown team and to go out and get a W and play well.
And what is it about? Is there anything different mentally in terms of I mean, you've always been a confident kid, but just this year, it just seems like whenever you release it, it's going in. What has brought that kind of supreme confidence?
The work.
I think the work over time has built up.
Done, Jimmy.
Like you said, supreme confidence, and then having my teammates and the coaches to have the confidence in me now to allow me to have nights like this. So it's a little bit of both, but I'd always go back to the work. Over time, it just builds and builds and builds, and finally, you're seeing nights like this.
Excuse me, stewardess. I speak, Pritchard.
It's not often when Jason takes a night off. He was out. Kristaps and Drew were also out. Do you know going into this game, I'm going to need to do a little more? How do you change your mindset when you guys are that shorthanded?
Not necessarily. I mean, maybe I know I'm going to play a little bit more, but I go into the game, like I said, just trying to make the right reads because tonight could have been Sam Hauser's night. He hits 10 to 15 threes. Like D White does what he does. JB could have 50. So I don't go into any night thinking, oh, it's my night. It's just you read the game and, the ball ended up finding me. Next game, the ball might not find me at all, but how am I going to impact the game? So, that could be with rebounding and assists. Obviously if I get shots, I got to be ready to hit them, but every night's a different look. So you just got to be prepared for it.
You entered the fourth quarter with 10 threes. You were one short of Smart's record for the franchise record. You took 1 3 in the fourth quarter. You kept passing up a lot of looks you could have forced to drive and kick and stuff like that. Why do you not gun for like those records to get the 50 burger stuff like
I
that?
didn't even know I had 10 threes at the moment, but I wouldn't have gone for it anyways because then it just sets a new standard. So I got something to eventually go for it, and hopefully I'll break one day. But the biggest thing was just about getting the W, and they made a little push, so I wasn't going to force a look that wasn't there. I feel like that's disrespectful to the game, disrespectful to my teammates. But if I got in the flow and took a shot that was a good shot for us and broke it that way, then that's the right way to break it.
Just for most people have not experienced that feeling of just, making that kind of history in front of this crowd. What does it feel like just from an emotion standpoint, especially like the MVP chants, the free throw line? I thought this was one of the better crowds of the year, but just from an emotional standpoint, what was kind of going through your mind?
Definitely special. Just having the crowd behind you. I know I have a lot of love out here, which I definitely appreciate. So to have a night like this and to see the crowd get behind me, it makes me keep going and keep working hard to keep. You never know what the future can hold. So trying to keep striving for greatness.
No, were those Noah's MVP chants?
Payton Pritchard. Noah's there. She's there for it all. Hi, Jeff.
Here's Jeff Twist, my man, the Hall of Famer.
Damn it, Amit.
No, Amit's fine. Amit's in the locker room right now. I'm wondering if someone else is popping in there. No one's there. So again, the work, I love it. The work is there. Someone had mentioned perhaps including that in our bracket. I will say I need some more bracket entries, guys, because we want to get those out to you. Send them to me.
March
If you
Madness
have,
is coming up.
Put them in the chat. We would like to do it. We are running a bracket. One other thing we are doing, which is kind of neat and kind of cool, is over on our Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel, something that we have introduced only recently, and that is premium content. We're gonna hear about that here for a quick message from our Patriots insider Taylor Kyles.
Going on, everyone? Taylor Kyles here for CLNS Media with a very exciting announcement. Here at Patriots Press Pass, we will be introducing bonus tiers. Now, this will not affect any of the content that hopefully you've grown to know and love over here at Patriots Press Pass. It's all going to be some brand new stuff and extras so we can connect with you more and also provide you some more in-depth and high-quality content. Hopefully, you guys are going to like it. Here are the tiers and what you should be expecting from all these new bonuses. At Tier 1, we've got Rookie Starter. That'll come with ad-free content, early access to videos, 5% off of all merchandise, and even custom emojis. Ooh. At Tier 2, we've got All Pro. Once again, ad-free content, early access, 10% off merchandise, custom emojis, but that'll also come with player profile film reviews and draft profiles. At Tier 3, we've got GOAT status. Same as all the other tiers, but it's going to be 20% off of all merchandise. We're also going to have custom segments, Discord chat rooms with myself and other show hosts, as well as live film reviews with myself and whomever we've got on the podcast for that day. Hoping to have some pretty fun guests.
Wow.
Very fun stuff. And it's starting. I know that said, it is starting.
Premium content.
It has started. And it's very cool. Patriots Press Pass offering memberships with bonus content right now over on our YouTube channel. And that is some cool stuff. We're going to have, in addition to what he mentioned there with the Discord chats, we're going to also we're going to welcome in GOAT status members into private showrooms, actual shows.
What goes on in the showroom?
Friggin' champagne room, Jimmy.
Taylor does the podcast with a shirt.
Yeah. No. Into a private room during a show for the last 10 minutes or so to join actually onto the show and chat with the guys and be part of our content. And that's also going to be something that we offer. I ask you here on the Garden Report, would you be interested in in basketball or Celtics related content, and whether we should offer something like that on this channel as well? We are considering doing it for you. So again, if that's something you'd be interested in, let us know. And
they might get the Jimmy John podcast finally.
Yeah, they're saying no. The first comment was no.
No. Okay, that's it then.
Yeah, that's it. We tried. Adiola said no.
It was a good thought, but hey, maybe next year.
Boom, chicka, wow, wow.
Chicka, wow, wow.
Private show, hey.
Private shows, hey.
Some people saying yes. I like it. We get enough yeses, we will do something. We're talking about doing it here. We just want to make sure we can deliver something
If
worthwhile.
one person says yes, fine, we'll do it. Oh, all right, we'll do it. We got one.
Yeah. I don't know about this.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't want to be on that episode either.
I definitely would be. We have some interest.
We got out of that episode.
We got 2 yeses.
Okay.
We got 2 yeses.
If you're watching on repeat on the YouTube comment section, let us know yes or no. Actually, only tell us if it's yes.
Yeah, and that's not a bad idea. If you've done Pats, perhaps we can give you a discount over on the Celtics one as well. That's a good consideration.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned
goat tier.
Someone mentioned Luke for 20 million in the bracket. I was actually thinking about that now. No, for real. If Luke is worth 20 million, what's Pritchard worth now?
200.
At a discount.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, what's Pritchard's contract with them? It's got to be the best contract in basketball at this point.
It's like $8-9 million a year, something.
I mean, that is crazy work by the Celtics.
Yeah,
look that one up.
Luke 20 million. Okay, I like that. Thank you, Patriots Press Pass. Those guys do awesome work. I'm not saying we don't do awesome work. We might not. But we're here and we're at least we're amusing at least, right? Those guys do work.
Yeah.
You know, Taylor watches the film, he gets it all down. This is a fun time too. This is where Taylor runs ahead of the pack with everyone else because of his ability to break down film, his like not just ability, his enthusiasm for it. This guy, you know, rips through film like you can't wait to get up the next day and look at it. Loves talking about it. Really good perspective on stuff. We'll have a bunch of cool draft profiles here, and that'll be a lot of fun. So back to this game itself here. I don't know what else
it will include someday, John. When we do live shows like in person, the membership will include a meet and greet. How about that?
Yeah. I mentioned that as a possibility, and I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but it might be a possibility in a premium tier where we'll just kind of, you know, I don't know if anyone actually wants to hang out with us, but we might offer it. Come hang out, chat, watch a game with us.
Talk shit to John. People would come to do that.
I think so. You know what's funny
is one thing you've always wanted to say to him.
They talk shit here when they meet me. They're like, dude, hi, and they're nice.
You just haven't met the ones who hate
I
you.
haven't met the right ones. You know?
They're out there though. We know they're out there.
Yeah. I think Derrick White's at the podium.
We'll do hard hat signatures if anyone who sign hard hats.
Derrick White's trying to be at the podium. We'll get him in a minute.
I can kind of see him there.
He's there. He's a little frozy. Dunk Tank John, that's a super premium. And yeah, that's fine. For like $50 a month, I'll let you take a swing at me.
Yeah, I support that.
Yeah. That's fine. Give me right there. Not in the face. One shot.
Body shots only. Yep.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Right.
I'm waiting to see if I think I got White. Let's see if I can pull this off here.
Now it's fun, but like we know what the bigger picture is, and we know what we are working for and what we're working towards. And so
be aggressive.
It's not about me. And there will be about me. And so whatever the team needs, whatever it is that night, I got to do it and just help us win games.
Derrick, how does it feel to have the best scoring and maybe the best shooting night of your life and still have a teammate have better numbers than you?
That's a good one.
It feels great. I'm super happy for Payton.
I'll bake a pie for all GOAT members.
I like that.
He probably could have took more shots. I took 6 more than him. So, he was unbelievable. Someone that works so hard and just plays the right way every time out there. And so, it's great to have that night tonight along with him and just kind of both of us just try to play the right way and do what it takes to win.
And what does it say about a team where 80 plus, and then now you and Payton go for 80 plus? They have 4 different people like involved in combining for 80. Like that's you never see 80 plus games combined anyway. To have 2 different sets of teammates do it is a little unique.
Yeah, I agree.
New York.
Next question.
Unique New York.
That smile.
Tradition and history is of
I
this
love those
franchise,
chompers.
and knowing that, what does it mean to do something that's never been done in this franchise's history?
It's unbelievable. I mean, just the talent that we have in the history of this franchise. I mean, I'm watching the documentary. Can't wait for the next episode. And so just kind of hearing more about the history. And she thought JB and JT did it a couple games ago. I guess JB didn't have 40. But like just
JB
to be a part
did.
of that is
Yikes.
unbelievable. And I'm truly thankful for that and grateful.
Derrick, you mentioned, just throughout the game, seeing and feeling more and more comfortable out there. Was there any point, like during a timeout or anything, where some of the guys on the bench came over to you and or Payton and were just like you're making everything tonight? Like, was there any point throughout the game where somebody on the bench like came over and was like laughing at how incredible like this night was?
No. Maybe like when at the end of the third quarter there, when Payton was really going crazy, I was laughing at it. Then I think we just kind of kept just staying in the moment, and everybody was just doing a great job of like finding us and creating for us. And like I felt like JB found me so many times to give me good open looks in the right play. And so him and Al just setting great screens. Like it was just a whole team effort, and they kind of all just combined to help us do what we did.
Thank you, Derrick.
All righty.
That was Derrick White at the podium, dropping a 40-piece, first time in his career.
Mr.
And again,
41.
this ridiculous stat where these guys, Payton and Derrick White, go for a combined, whatever. Boop!
Not Bird and McHale.
Not
Pierce and KG.
Yeah.
Not Brown and Tatum.
Pierce and KG, those guys barely scored at all that year. They just distributed the rock. Also, that team, what do you think that team averaged for the year, points per game?
Like 102.
100 flat.
Yeah, like 100. But they only gave up like
They gave
90.
up like 89 or 90, yeah.
Right.
The golden age of the NBA. First team to 90 wins.
But they would punch you in the
Basketball's
face.
so bad right now.
Who do you think would win, John? That team or this team?
It's so hard to cross compare. Like I said,
Sherrod said that team.
You think so?
I do.
I don't know. I don't think so.
We got ourselves a debate. Why do you say that, Sherrod?
KG's
the X factor. KG's the only guy on any of those teams that would will victories. You know what I mean?
He's a difference maker.
Yeah.
He would
He's the X
just
factor.
make Tatum cry out there or something.
No, he wouldn't cry, but he'd make his life a living hell.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I'm a little bit impartial to that team, obviously, too. So they're just so different. The styles are so different,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, people will say that, those guys are tougher. And again, when you have a team led by KG, it's impossible to say not. The talent level is higher on this team. It really is. Across the board. You had good role players there, guys who did what they had to do, but you also had Rondo early, not prime Rondo.
Yeah.
And Perkins
wasn't really doing much.
Perkins doesn't exist today. Like Kendrick Perkins is like a hockey goon. Like guys like that don't play basketball anymore.
Right.
So like he couldn't see the floor in this matchup. You'd be playing this game with KG at the 5. So that's why it's tough to compare. Playing.
But
against,
you also, you've got Tony Allen. You've got shutdown guys on this.
You got
team.
guys. You got guys who can absolutely.
Posey plays more.
Yeah. But yeah, you're basically, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. It'd be really interesting.
It would be it's
yeah,
a dream.
but like I said, and Rondo on paper, it looks great because Rondo was a point guard, but Rondo wasn't Rondo yet. That version of Rondo was still figuring out who he was going to be, and kind of like the best they could put out there, but he wasn't, he wasn't the kind of really dynamic player you saw in the later years of Pierce and KG, and when the team was kind of handed over to him. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Ray Allen would be taking like.
I love Ray Allen.
threes.
I love that team too. I'm not speaking ill there. It's just I even think that 16-year difference, the game changes so much, and the talent and the physicality and what you have with the people being able to knock down shots across the board. It's just really hard to compare.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I wonder what
Rondo
style
was a guy who was almost like detrimental at times. Like he wasn't that guy. I wonder what Rondo would be like today. I mean, I know he played for a long time, but
he hasn't been out of the league that long.
Total inability to shoot.
He would adjust. I mean, he's still one of the great passers, and he was so flashy and creative with the ball.
He hung for a while. I mean, he played until what, 21, 20,
he hasn't
21, 22 or whatever. Yeah. Has not been that long. How many points a game you think he averaged for his career?
Rondo, I'm going to say 11.
I'm going to say 14.
9.8.
I was way off.
Crazy, right?
I thought maybe when he left Boston, he I don't know, took on more of a scoring role.
His highest ever point per game season, 13.7.
So I was way off.
Wow.
Which he did twice. It's crazy.
Wow.
But he was never a scorer.
No, no. He was not. I mean, he averaged, double-digit assists multiple times. But yeah, he was a really interesting player because I
love Rondo. One of my favorite players.
He was an
Especially
interesting
in the
dude.
playoffs. Playoff Rondo was a bitch.
He knew how to get under your skin. He was one of the smartest players on the court. I mean, he just wasn't a great shooter. So really, that's kind of what kept him from being elite. But he was perfect for that Celtics team when they did have the stars that they had, Pierce, Garnett, Ray, those guys, because he didn't need shots,
But again,
he was able to get them the ball.
It's just offensively, a team with Rondo at point guard and Perkins at center would have a hard time surviving in this NBA, keeping up with the 3-point volume of a team. Like the way the game is played now, it'd be really hard to do.
But
that's the problem is like that you'd play those guys off the floor, whether you play,
that's not really the
or hack a
question.
Rondo, or just simply like the spacing issues that you would have there would just be really brutal. And you could just load up on other people and leave these guys wide friggin' open. And it just would be really, really difficult. It's just hard to have a team like that nowadays.
I think that I don't think that's fair, first of all, because you're assuming that they wouldn't adjust their style of play. You're assuming that Ray Allen wouldn't change the way he shoots. You were assuming
that's why it's hard to cross compare.
Yeah,
because
but
if
I'm
they grew
not
up today, all of them would be more capable shooters.
Yeah,
and things would look a lot different. That's why it's really hard.
I mean, I'm not saying take this team and put him into his NBA. I'm saying take that team that year against this team this year, put him in a game together, and I don't know whose style of play would win out. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's. I mean,
this is scary to think of. Yeah, Scal might get more minutes in today's if that team was playing today.
Oh,
that's why they grabbed Scal. Scal was like when he was with the Nets, he was shooting corner threes and looked like one of those kind of stretch fours before it was really a thing. And then he was, it turned out he was just Scal.
Yeah, brain typing. Danny Ainge used to love that stuff.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, you'd get more Eddie, you'd get more Scal, which is hilarious. But yeah, you probably would. You probably would.
Anyways, none of those guys ever dropped 40 at the same time.
No. Interesting.
But this team did.
Interesting side chat.
Does
here.
Pritchard is he carving out it's an interesting conversation at some point to have because you've got Holiday who's sitting. They just obviously re-signed him, but I think there's a lot of people who wonder if he's got long-term plans here. Does a game like tonight give the Celtics more reason to explore a Holiday type trade in the offseason? Because at some point they are going to have to unload contracts here too.
Yeah.
And they're not going to get rid of Pritchard because he's making $7 million a year.
That makes it makes it more palatable. For sure. Your team dynamic changes and you're probably still better bringing Pritchard off the bench. But depending on how you reconfigure your lineup, you can also play a single big lineup with Jaylen back at the 2, there. And, Tatum is the 3 if you have somebody else who can slide into that role, or you get another wing player. So it really all depends, what you would do to replace or what type of players would be coming in there. But yeah, if you had more wing play, you could play Tatum Brown in another wing with just Derrick White as your point guard and a single big and live for sure. I still like Pritchard coming off the bench because that's just such an insane boost. I mean, we talked about Pritchard all year. That's the thing that, it's been so regular that we've almost stopped talking about it. But it's not just a valuable bench guy. It's a guy that you can't wait until he gets in the game because he changes the energy almost right away by himself, and you can kind of count on it. And there's certain games where the shot isn't falling and you don't get that PP boost. And when that happens, you feel it. Like you're really counting on him coming in there and just doing what he does. And he's a scorer. That's what he was put on this earth to do, is just get buckets. And it's just what he does. But on top of that, the rest of his game rounded out great. He had a couple really good defensive possessions tonight as well, where he's just staying in front of people and being really, really competitive. And you saw the rebounding here, offensive rebounding. We've talked about that this year. There's so friggin' much that he does here. It really is remarkable. Here's Al Horford in the locker room after the game talking about Pritchard and White and the type of night they had tonight, which, again, we all know was phenomenal.
Just a few games ago, Jaylen and Jason combined for 80+. Now you've got two completely different teammates combined for 80+. Yeah, how crazy is that?
That's unbelievable. Now that you put it like that, I mean, it speaks volumes of the capability of the guys that we have here. And that Portland team's been playing really good basketball, so it's not like it's a game that we have to fight for. And what I was most impressed with is Payton and Derrick. Just continuing to trust in the team, continuing to move the ball, and trying to get the best shot every time. And I felt like they did a good job of that. Sometimes when you get up in those numbers, you kind of want, you want to press and feed the hot hand and things like that. And that's okay to an extent, but I just felt like they had a good balance of when to shoot, when to pass, when to move it. That's pretty unique.
Again, this wasn't like one of those 40-something games where it's like, I mean, they took a lot of shots, but it didn't feel like they were chucking. I mean, certainly those deep threes can seem excessive, but not when you hit them with the regularity that these guys are accustomed to hitting them. And that's what you got tonight. So it was just, I mean, and we'll bring in Noah in a little bit to talk about the energy. I rewatched that Pritchard logo 3 like 8 times. It was just boom, the roof just goes off, just blew off the place. Just so friggin' cool to see those go down. And again, I know, you've got NBA detractors that don't like this sort of thing. I mean, this was just wildly entertaining, just watching these guys just drop bombs all night long.
Yeah, why isn't it entertaining? I mean, it's sweet when those shots go down like that. I can see if your team sucks and they're missing shots like that. Yeah, I can see how that would be annoying to watch, just constant bricks. But that's what I said earlier this year. I was like, I'm having a good time watching them play this way because they're good at it. It makes sense. Like, it wouldn't make sense for a bad 3-point shooting team to be taking as many threes as they do. But for this Celtics team, the more the merrier. That's what they're designed for. They're built for this shit.
They're built for it, Noah. So, Noah, the question of the night is, if Luke Cornett is worth $20 million, what's Payton Pritchard worth on his next contract?
Well, he's locked in for the next 3 years. Might be one of the best contracts in the league. That actually might be one of the biggest bargains. But just from being here, I'll just say I thought this was one of the best crowds that I've experienced.
Crazy, right? It felt like it.
Yeah. Part of it is you're watching history being made. You're watching 2 fan favorites, because really Pritchard and Derrick White are, if not the 2 most popular people in this building, they are up there. And then also against the Blazers on a Wednesday night, this was as cheap as it gets for a get-in price. So you had like regular people here too. People that this was their one regular season game. I know people fans. Well, not real fans, people that don't get to go very often, and aren't going every other night and aren't going to the playoffs. So yeah, this was, to me, this game stood out from like just a vibe standpoint. It really felt different than, especially looking at the injury report. I was like, this is going to be a little bit of a dud game, and that's the last thing that it was.
What got into your boy tonight?
I mean, listen, they were not like, I know the Blazers have been defending the 3-ball well. Like that's been one of their hallmarks over these last like 25 games. But it took them like 3 quarters to adjust to the fact that Payton Pritchard and Derrick White were letting them up. And I don't know. I mean, it's always easier said than done. And there were some crazy shots that were being made too, but there were some other plays where I was like, okay, this guy's this guy's literally like they're going under picks, and Donovan Clingan, like he just didn't really have a place in this game. Like I think they had to go smaller against the Celtics group. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to like I thought that what he said after the game made a lot of sense. Like it's not that on paper he knew he was going to have a big night because it could have been somebody else. Nobody would have thought that they would both go for 40, but I don't know that I've ever seen two guys get hot simultaneously like this. I'm sure Steph and Clay had it at one point during the Golden State years, but I've never seen it like that, I don't think.
Well, I mean, they were, it felt like the record that was being chased was the 10-10, which had never happened. And White ended up not getting it. And then all of a sudden they dropped the first two players in Celtics history ever to go for 40 in a game together, which was just mind blowing. Did you even know that was something? And you mentioned White was so good along the way. White almost crept up on it. It was the PP show. And all of a sudden you look over and like, White's got 37 freaking points. And you knew he was doing well. I just didn't realize it was like they were neck and neck there. And then, bang, bang, they both end up with the 40. But just a truly mind blowing stat for this franchise and this team, this current team with Tatum and Brown on it, to have these two guys be the guys who do it. Again, it's like maybe, this is what's, driving the crowd energy, as you said, is like, what the F is going on here? This is like Mega Millions odds for this type of thing to happen. It's really, really nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it shows you the power of the 3-point shot, right? Because that's why they were able to rack up so many points. I mean, Derrick made 9 threes, Pritchard made 10. Like I think Jaylen and Jason have had games that they've had their own offensive explosions, but they're not high volume 3-point shooters ultimately. Like they'll have their nights, but not like this. So that was kind of the key here. But I didn't realize that was a stat. I didn't realize that was in the works. That was pretty stunning to know that those two guys, of all of the duos that have played in this organization, like those two guys made history. It was pretty remarkable. And I think that it hit them too. I don't think they wanted to overplay the significance of this game too much, or, it was just a regular season game. They don't want to make too big of a deal. But I think the fact that they made, joint history together for this franchise, for both of those guys, I think that stood out to them.
Yeah.
Who's going to surprise you the most, though, Noah? Payton or Derrick's?
Honestly, Derrick's, because I think Payton's had, like, in these games where he's kind of running the show more, he's had more of these explosions. Like, he kind of is more of a microwave scorer. But there were, Derrick really kind of came in the clutch there. I was thinking of who's going to end up outscoring the other. And I think Derrick had like the 12-point fourth quarter. So down the stretch, like he was getting mid-range shots, like he was kind of diversifying his offense. But I mean, when you look at his career high, I think it was 35 for a regular season game, or 33, and then 38 in the playoffs. Like, considering how great of a player he is, I was surprised it wasn't higher, but he doesn't really have these kinds of games. He doesn't really have like 40-point nights. So I guess I don't know. I can't imagine when the last time was that he took 26 shots, but yeah, that one stood out even more. And I felt like he wasn't even hitting net. Like there were some shots that he made that were just like kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. The ridiculous. We are running a poll currently. Who is the most popular Celtic? Pritchard, White, Tatum, or Luke? Right now.
Those are the four?
Those are the four.
Are there other options, or
nope, just those four?
Okay. Is there, like, can I see the results anywhere, or are they still being tallied?
They're still being tallied. Luke's chiming in at a surprising 13%. I don't think people thought he'd get that high.
He's in the running.
Tatum, I believe, is winning, but honestly, if you voted for Tatum, boring.
This is a little bit of erasure for Jaylen Brown. I'm just gonna acknowledge it. He was your Finals MVP. I think he does have a lot of big fans, but
nah.
And that was talking to Jaylen.
Brown slander will never end.
I'm glad I only joined this show this year. Pre-Finals MVP. I can't even imagine what it sounded like around here.
No, it's fine. We've been critical, but JB got his flowers all last year because he played his overall best season.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, and he was good. He was really good in the playoffs, obviously in the finals. But no, it's just teasing here. The Luke was the jokey.
He's growing on people.
He's absolutely growing on people. Almost impossible to talk about anything else in this game, Noah. And I put this on the screen here. If you support the Garden Report with the post-game show here with super chats, we do appreciate it. Proceeds go out to the hosts, but it also helps us continue pumping out free content for you, which is something that we love to do. So if you want to support us, by all means, fire away with a super chat here. We'll throw your question up on the screen as we always do, talk about it a little bit. So again, for those who do, thank you. For those who don't, that's cool too. We like having you, but it's always an option here. Noah, as we said, is it the Pritchard and the White show, but anything else stick out from you?
Jordan got a pretty extended run here. What did he finish with?
21 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, he's a work in progress. He had some good moments. He had some moments where I think the game he was kind of going too fast, or sometimes it just feels like there's a rebound and it just looks more complicated than it has to be. But I overall thought that he brought something good to this game. And it is notable that he played 20 minutes, whereas a guy like Torrey Craig didn't play at all. And, Baylor Sharman didn't play at all. He hasn't really had that many opportunities of late. So clearly Joe's liked something behind the scenes and how he's approached things. He hit his one corner three that generated a nice reaction from the Celtics bench. But I think he had a pretty solid showing, but it was just notable that he was kind of next up, at least in this matchup. But you never know with Joe. That might not even really mean anything in next game. Drew Peterson's coming in for 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if Drew Peterson played like 15 seconds tonight, I think he didn't even register a minute. He didn't get over the 30-second threshold. I am curious for people in the chat here, how many people changed the way they brushed their teeth after the last show?
I got a number of tweets and comments telling me that they just did toothpaste water for the first time, and like it changed.
Thank you, John.
Life.
And thank you, JB.
Thanks, guys.
I'm not going to say I didn't try it, but I did try it. I'm not going to say I didn't try it.
Well, Bobby, this is going to surprise you, but Bobby goes toothpaste and then water. So he's just dry bristle.
So the dry bristle is what blows my mind. Not putting water first is crazy. I'm not
serial killer.
I'm not opposed to the post toothpaste water. So the water sandwich is fine.
Yeah.
The toothpaste sandwich with water on both sides. The not wetting your dry brush is crazy to me.
It says a lot about you as a person.
It does feel wrong. It does feel wrong. Noah, there was a lot of people that thought you might not use toothpaste at all.
And that's
and I asked her that, and she got mad at me.
Right. Because what about me has given that the only thing you would say to somebody is that they have bad breath, and none of these people have met me. So I like, why would I not?
No, there's some people.
No, like you use some alternative toothpaste.
Yeah,
some
people. Maybe I use. Nobody asked what kind of toothpaste I use.
Right.
Well,
okay.
I did send you
there
a picture of some pretty outrageous toothpaste that I thought.
And you know what, Jimmy? I've seen that toothpaste before. Not gonna say where, but I've seen it before. Maybe in my house.
In your teeth, yeah. It was like tree sap toothpaste of some kind. It was unreal.
Toothpaste sandwich
I can't
is
have
in the
not
bracket.
eating candy be equated with like
bracket.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, I have a question for Noah though.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to sports for a second, and it's about Pritchard. Sports talk here. I know he's coming off the bench for the Celtics team, and I get it. I get why they're an extremely talented team. That's his role. But if this is what he's capable of, there's nobody in the NBA, really in the history of the NBA, that's just been relegated to a bench role if they're capable of giving you 40.
People.
Not really. For their whole
Crawford?
careers? Okay,
Lou
that
Williams?
might be Jamal Crawford might be one example. But
Lou Williams is another one.
What would she say?
Lou Williams is another one.
This is like my favorite genre of basketball players, like the microwave bench scorers. So
sure, but I think Pritchard.
I
think Pritchard can. You can even make the case Pritchard can give you more than like a Jamal Williams, who's strictly like a scorer. I guess my question is: do you see a role for him on this team expanding into the starting lineup? Not this year, but we could be talking maybe as early as next year, depending on how the offseason goes for the Celtics team.
Yes, I would be surprised if Payton Pritchard is not eventually a starter on the Celtics. I think that's the next step here. I don't know exactly how it happens, but I would imagine, they have him under contract for 3 more years. I don't know if Drew Holiday is going to finish out his contract.
Noah wants to trade Drew Holiday. Got it?
No.
That's kind of what I was.
That's where it's going.
Ahmet, can you make that lower third? Thank you.
That's where it's going. Ahmet, put it on the board. Yeah. Put it in the bracket.
Well, I mean, that's the trajectory that he's on. If you look at where he was 2 years ago, last year, this year,
there's no question talent-wise he is, but based off of we talked about this just minutes ago before you jumped on, and we've talked about it throughout the year. The PP boost is a real thing, and it's like you need it. The microwave aspect of that bench guy coming in is valuable, if not as valuable, if not more valuable than inserting someone in a starting lineup. So Noah, is there like you could be as good as he is or as good as he's become and still have greater value coming off the bench. I do see a world in which the Celtics go single big with, 3 wings, with Jaylen playing more of a 2-guard position, and you're able to leave even if Holiday were to matriculate, no longer be with the team. However, he ends up moving on or doesn't finish his contract. The logical thing would be Pritchard, but I just don't know how you take that away. It's such a, you can't, like, it's changed the complexion of so many games early in a game with him coming in and providing that instant offense and like jump starting things when maybe they weren't going necessarily a great way. That second unit that he's been featured in with Tatum and the other guys has also been terrific at times in the second quarter. So like you're like robbing yourself of this thing. I do wonder if he has more value just continuing to come off the bench.
I think for this group, it makes more sense for him to come off the bench. And I've actually liked the continuity of the fact that they've kind of held him in that role, literally regardless of who's out. I think that he just provides like this relief almost when he checks into the game. So yeah, I do think that it fits right now. And it's hard to envision, it's hard for me to picture them breaking up this group because this group makes so much sense and nobody's that old and, they've been winning. But just realistically, Pritchard's contract is not one you trade. Like I said, he's one of the best contracts in the league. So he's going to play that contract through. And so I don't know where things are going to go, but I'd imagine sometime in that 3 years, even if it's not for an entire season, that he's a starter at some point.
He may have to, because you might not always have this embarrassment of riches in terms of talent
That's what I mean.
on the team, because it's just hard to keep these types of teams together.
Or injuries or whatnot, something it's just inevitable. I think.
Because
John, you can find energy bench guys if it's almost like reducing him to like.
Yeah, but not. I mean, not to this level. I mean, you can count them on one hand.
He becomes a starter. He does that in the starting.
That's fine. And Sherrod, answer this question here. We thank Ja for the super chat contribution. Again, thanking all of you who do contribute here. Thanks, one Cuse guy to another. Mike T on the broadcast. When the show started, Sherrod, I was going to say there's only 2 names we're going to mention tonight: Pritchard and White. And if there's going to be a third, it was going to be Mike Tirico, who subbed in. For those who watch the game on NBC Sports Boston, subbed in for Drew as kind of a little teaser. You wet the beak for what's coming with NBC. Entering the basketball fold next season. Sherrod, your thoughts?
I loved it. I've known Mike forever. I mean, he's got top tier titanium status at Syracuse. So it was great to hear his voice. And I think a lot of people don't realize this is kind of in his wheelhouse from the jump. I mean, he does a lot of football stuff, but the basketball stuff was really what kind of got him going. I remember vividly back being in Michigan when the Pistons won the championship and Mike Tirico, was handing, the finals MVP trophy to Chauncey Billups. Not a lot of people know he lives in Michigan still. And he was one of the first people when I covered the Pistons that kind of made me feel comfortable in Michigan because it's very different than Syracuse and other places I've been. So, I love having him on the call. I'd like to hear more of him on the call, to be honest. He's great.
I know Ja didn't ask me, but I also thought he was awesome. I mean, he's one of the best. It's not like breaking news. He's just unbelievable. It felt like he'd been on the broadcast for 10 years.
Exactly. You can
How was he with
him.
Cal?
Great.
There's two guys. It was fine. There's 2 guys you can. It's all right. There's 2 guys you can put anywhere, calling anything at any time, and it's Tirico and Sean McDonough.
Yeah, I see that.
They're the 2 best. Actually, Sean McDonough, I remember even 25, 30 years ago, before Tirico was full Tirico status, 20-something years ago, was like asked who the best play-by-play guy was in the business. He's like, it's Mike Tirico. And you've got a Syracuse connection there as well, but it's like Tirico's that friggin' good. And McDonough's the other one. But Tirico slides in perfectly anywhere. And as you said, Sherrod, sounds like he was born, like he's been doing this his entire life. It's seamless, it's professional, the right amount of levity and enthusiasm, but it's just the tone is always on. McDonough to me is an elevator. I think he really elevates a lot of the broadcasts he's on. I love both of those guys. Another super chat here. I'm not going to read it, but thank you very much for the contribution here. We're not talking about this, but yeah,
I'll read it. Any plans for CLNS to start a PP Boost pod? You could get some sick sponsors, i.e. Blue Chew, etc.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ape Man.
Maybe
Man.
Hims.
Is that your first
Ape
name or
Man.
last name? Yeah.
Not your
Thank
real
you.
name.
Thank you, Ape Man. No, we appreciate it.
Are there any plans?
Throwing
Not
this
yet,
up
but
for
it's not a
Dylan
bad
real
idea.
quick. I did want to talk about this with Noah a little bit. It was interesting. Would you not have assumed, hey, Tatum out, Holiday, no Porzingis, this is going to be a 40 piece from Brown. He's going to go bananas tonight. Ended up being two other guys, which is again just stunning. We're trying to assess Jaylen's game, good game, bad game, mid game, okay game. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he racks up the 8 rebounds, 8 assists. This is something I do wonder this year. I think like a lot of emphasis put on the Jaylen Brown 3-point shot where it's fallen to 32% and stayed there. We haven't seen that hot month to get the number back up to that kind of baseline 35%-ish where you would expect it to kind of sit, which isn't great, but is more acceptable. 32, you're entering Russell Westbrook territory, and it's like, geez, don't let him shoot it. But in terms of getting to his spots and getting his shot, sometimes absolutely he's able to do it, and that bully ball stuff works where he just puts his shoulder down and gets in there. But it doesn't seem, maybe he's not doing it with the same level of effectiveness as he was last year. This comment here from Dylan: do you notice JB trying to go through defenders and not around them this year? And people have talked about, and it's evident, the physicality, how much muscle he added in the offseason. He's just a big dude.
Yeah, I think it's a tendency that he's had over the years. Like this thing where he is just kind of going through the defender, and it almost really got him in trouble today where he got called for 2 offensive fouls in like a 45-second span.
Yeah.
And one was just barely overturned because I think the guy defender's foot was on the line. But yeah, I do think it's a tendency that he has. I don't know that I've noticed if he's done it more this year. I think the bigger thing that I've noticed is that when he gets to his spot, he's just been less efficient. Like there was multiple looks tonight where he was just like right where he wanted to get to, and he was just way short. And obviously the 3-pointers you mentioned. So I guess I'd have to dive into the numbers and see if like that's a real thing. But I think I just in general have always noticed that he has that tendency. Whereas Tatum honestly goes more the other direction where if anything, he's avoiding contact too much, I feel like. Yeah. So it's somewhere in the middle. And Tatum's been so much better at that this year. I feel like he has not had those drives where you're like, you were really avoiding contact on this one. And so I don't know. Jalen's shooting more free throws than he has in his career. So like he's getting a little bit rewarded for it. But maybe it has impacted his rim numbers. I haven't seen, so if it has, I don't know.
Jake doing some work for us here. 40% from the corners, pull up above the break threes are the problem. There's no doubt about that. That's not been a good shot for him all year. Of course, if you guys don't know who Jake is, you should. Jake and Ben.
We know who Jake is.
Yeah, and Spoonie are the terrific hosts of First to the Floor and Celtics Late Night Show. Outstanding podcast here on the CLNS Media Network. Oftentimes these guys are bringing it right after the Garden Report with some extra basketball coverage, putting their own unique spin on it. And it's always entertaining and it's always smart and it's good basketball talk. And if you want to keep the party going, you should absolutely be listening to that. When you're not listening to it after the game, you should be checking it out on the off days as well, because they've always got some super good content. And yeah, somebody's got to do work here. That's not what we're here for, Jake. We're just here to kind of get a couple of yucks out of you guys and
maybe cheap laughs.
Yeah, a couple cheap laughs, maybe get some a couple super chats and just run out the door. Another game tomorrow, so we'll wrap this one up. Final thoughts from everybody here. And again, this is the really a historic and super entertaining game for a midweek game against Portland with 3 starters out. I don't think we could have asked for a better outcome in this one. Tomorrow, you're going to face Philly with who the hell knows who's playing for either team here, and that train wreck of a team. So, I don't know what to expect from that. And again, possible trap game scenario, because you're looking at that Lakers game and you've got people with, that's a fun freaking game and a fun matchup in the first look at Luka. So that's on the horizon here. Any concern tomorrow with either? No, there's a couple of things. You've got the injuries, and I don't know. I don't know. The KP thing is weird, right? Do you have any clarity there? He was sick and then not sick and then more sick.
Yeah, I think he was sick last week. I think he tried to play through it for a game and was terrible, and then probably got worse after that. He did go through practice yesterday. I don't know if he did everything, but he was at practice and they did a walkthrough. He wasn't in the building today, at least not that I saw. He wasn't in the locker room or anything. And Sam Hauser I think sprained his ankle pretty bad. I don't know if you guys talked about that. He
We
was
didn't.
limping around. He was limping around the locker room afterwards. I was trying to he definitely got I think he'll miss some time. I mean, you never know. Last year, I felt like he had that ankle sprain in DC and then missed like one game. So it could be not that big of a deal. He was walking and everything, but I would imagine he's out tomorrow. I'd imagine Porzingis comes back and they just kind of gave him the extra day and Al will sit tomorrow. So that's what I pictured. And Drew, Joe keeps acting like Drew might come, check in any day now, but I think they're going to give him a little bit of time. There's no reason to rush him. Jaylen had a whole thing around his knee afterwards. I think his knee thing has been bothering him for a while, so I don't think he'll play a back-to-back. So they'll probably, some of the guys we saw tonight will probably rest tomorrow. They probably kind of split that.
The other downside was I about this one. I think Joe might have left Pritchard and White in to start the fourth, thinking it's a 20-something point game. Let's let them get a couple of records and then let's rest it. And then the game got close, and he had to play those guys the entire fourth, and the minutes are ridiculous. Payton Pritchard playing 43 minutes off the bench, and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen puts up 40, and also Derrick White 39. Guys who you're counting on returning to action tomorrow, you friggin' played them into the ground. So tomorrow could be an interesting one.
And Payton and Derrick are both on the injury report too.
Yes.
I don't know how legit those injuries were, but they both were on the injury
Those
report.
were injuries for tomorrow's game, perhaps, if they were going to switch them out. And, that was my thought, to get them out. But who knows? We'll see. But yeah, another game tomorrow. So we're back with another Garden Report. We appreciate all of you who joined us here tonight and watched here as the Celtics take down the Portland Trailblazers 128-118 in a wildly entertaining game that featured a bit of history with Derrick White and Payton Pritchard becoming the first Celtics duo in history. Again, mind-blowing statistic to both go off for 40-plus points in a game. Really remarkable stuff. Once again, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you to Sherrod. Thank you to Jimmy. Thank you to Noah. Check out Noah's written stuff over on Celtics blog, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here on CLNS Media and our Celtics Press Pass channel for more Celtics content. We will see you all back here tomorrow. Thanks. Good night, everybody. No one's sneaking a vegan brownie by me, I'll tell you that.
Okay, you know what, John? We're going to do it.
You have to feel that way too, Bobby.
I have to feel that way. Let's fight Al over and make Luke your first center.
Bobby, we gave you Luke hour early. We're not going to end this on a damn conversation about Luke